everything at a public meeting is being taped,
Yes.
and that's what's being done and so forth, so we would ask you to identify yourself by name and address, and then tell us what you have to say.
My name is Joseph Buchanan, and my address is 3817 Kaiser Avenue Northeast. I'm here today because of a situation at the dog pound. It came to my attention the other day that a dog was listed on the Stark County Dog Pound's Pet Finder page, in which the ad clearly leads one to believe that the dog that the pound is adopting is to have a known fighting history. And if I can, I have the text of that ad with me, and I'd like to read it for the record.
Go ahead.
At the beginning of the ad, it says, "Jock is thought to have been used as a bait dog for fighting. His teeth have been filed down so he couldn't injure the dog being trained." Further on in the ad, it states, "Jock was made to fight. He was only doing what his owner asked of him." My question to the commissioner, well, and I might add that they made sure to add at the bottom of the advertisement that because most of our dogs in the kennels are strays, we do not have any knowledge about each individual dog's background, so we cannot make claims, any health claims or behavior assurances concerning our dogs. Despite that disclaimer, I think that the text in the ad is very clear that this dog would pose some sort of liability being adopted out to the general public. As you're aware, the dog pound does not have the policy or procedure to discriminate against who can or cannot adopt the dog. You show up with your $86, you pick the dog you think is cute, and you leave. So I would ask that the commissioners, not only with this dog, but other dogs of this type, require the pound to either find an appropriate rescue and rehabilitation where the dog can be worked with and ensured that it is of sound temperament and not going to be a danger to the community, or that the dogs sadly be euthanized. I believe that the safety of the community is worth more than any animal's
Want
life.
to discuss this particular
Yes,
item
I
with
did.
the county administrator, and I think on the basis of that, Mike, you've at least put this adoption on hold.
That's
for
correct.
Pending further investigation to look at what you said and look at the county's policies with regard to this and so forth. Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I don't.
Mike, just remind me, we don't actually write that ad, is that correct? Is that written by the Friends of the Pound?
Generally,
May I?
yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, it is sometimes, I think most of the time by the Friends of the Pound, sometimes by Mike Evans.
Okay.
May I interject?
And again, this isn't a public discourse, but go ahead and tell us what you have to say.
The ad was placed on the Pet Finder account through the Stark County Dog Wardens Department. In order to obtain that account, somebody had to verify that the people posting there represented the pound and that it was a legitimate account. Therefore, if the pound has decided to give access to their account to somebody else, they're still accountable for what is written. Just as if I were to give you the account to something I have, I'm still responsible for what happens on that account. Therefore, just because the pound has passed off their password and said, "Here, you can write for us," doesn't make them any less responsible for what is represented.
Are you by any chance a law school student?
No, sir.
Well, you should think about that as a career.
Walking the family dog. The two dogs get into it. The kid tries to break it up and gets bit. You know, a dog like that is not a dog that should just be arbitrarily sent to the first person to show up with the money. You know, are there people that can handle the dog safely? Yes. Are there rescues that can work with the dog and train him and teach him to behave properly? Yes. But the fact is, the pound wasn't attempting to make any of these steps. And the dog came from the Humane Society. They swapped dog. I guess the pound has a deal with the Humane Society because the Humane Society, by policy, isn't allowed to adopt out pit bulls.
Right, that's I think something recent.
So the Humane Society takes non-pit bull dogs and gives the pound their pit bulls, which I think is a good thing but a bad thing at the same time, because now you're affecting Stark County Dog Warden Department's euthanasia rates. The heart's in the right place there, and I think that the people at the pound, their heart was in the right place with this dog. The problem is you don't have anybody at the dog pound that actually understands dogs. You have animal lovers. You have people that have been dog catchers for years. but you don't have an animal behaviorist on site. You don't have a certified trainer on site. You don't have the ability to thoroughly evaluate these dogs, which is okay. I mean, they even make that disclaimer. But why then, when you know you don't have anybody capable of evaluating this dog, put it out to the public, not understanding the potential of what could happen?
Mm-hmm. And you have pit bulls yourself, right?
I used to.
You used
I now
to?
have American Bulldogs.
Okay. And you said this was an American
Pit Bull Terrier.
American Pit Bull Terrier. Okay.
Yes. You know, and the dog may be a great dog. I'm not doing this against the dog. I love pit bulls. I love the breed. Mm-hmm. And I'd hate to see this dog destroyed, but as I said in the commissioners meeting, I would rather see one dog that would never cause an issue destroyed than a dog let out to the public and bite a child, bite somebody that's elderly. You know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a viciousness towards people bite. It could be two people walking dogs. The dogs get into an argument, the people step in, and the dog inadvertently redirects its aggression and bites the person.
Right.
So even if the dog's sweet as can be and loves people and wants to be on your lap, accidents can happen, and you're taking a dog that has possibly been taught aggressive behaviors.
So what do you hope happens now that you brought this to the commissioner's attention?
I would hope that not only this dog, but other dogs that are believed to come from a fighting background would not be made available to the public, but that the Stark County Dog Wardens Department would make efforts to place these dogs into the proper hands for rehabilitation and evaluation. There are many places. The most famous right now is the Best Friends Animal Sanctuary that took the Michael Vick dogs. Mm-hmm. And I believe only one of those dogs ended up being euthanized.
But I'm guessing that costs quite a bit of money to do. To
generally, when the rescues take the dogs, they accept full responsibility for the dog, which means, you know, the Stark County dog wouldn't get their $86, but they also wouldn't be liable for any bills or anything like that.
That's what I was wondering, because I was thinking that sounds good, but on the budget that the dog warden has, that
you know, if they do find things, if that's not an option, I would have to ask: does the Stark County Dog Wardens Department value its euthanasia rate more than it does public safety? We're talking about a dog that somebody along the line, whether it be the Humane Society, whether it be Friends of the Pound, or whether it be the Stark County Dog Warden Department, has labeled a dog with a probable fighting history. That type of history comes along with issues, for lack of a better word. And they need to be addressed. It's nothing that generally can't be fixed with proper training and rehabilitation, but you don't just... I mean, this was advertised online. Anybody that wants to look tough and macho can walk into the pound and say, here's your $86, here's my insurance policy, give me my fighter dog. And then run around town, oh yeah, I've got a bait dog, I got a rescue dog, you know, he was used for fighting and this and that, and not know how to handle the dog.
How and when did this come to your attention?
I was speaking with a friend of mine that I have done rescue and rehabilitation for in the past. I've worked with dogs with her from Columbiana County Dog Pound, Richland County Humane Society, and I'm currently working with a dog for her from Weeping Willow Second Chance German Shepherd Sanctuary. And we were talking about the dog I currently have, a German Shepherd, and she asked me, she said, what do you do in instances where you come across a fighting dog or a bait dog? And I told her essentially that, you know, those dogs need to be thoroughly evaluated. It's not a 5-minute ordeal like it would be with the stray Chihuahua you find. And that what happens with the dog would highly depend on what a qualified person determined. You know, she asked me if I'd go down and look at him. I told her no, even though I...
Now, when did this conversation take place?
Night before last. Okay. So, Sunday night, Monday night. It would have been Monday night.
Okay.
I told her that I would not put my name on that dog. Simple reason being, once anybody that works with animals says, yes, this dog has a solid temperament, you're liable now.
Then your reaction was to come into the commissioner's office yesterday?
Yes, I came into the commissioner's office yesterday. I spoke with Mr. Hankey. The first response I got is, well, we don't know it's a fighting dog. And I explained to him, I said, well, that's what the ad that's listed under the Stark County Dog Warden Department's Pet Finder account states. Well, the pound doesn't authorize, or doesn't post those. I said, well, but they authorize the Friends of the Pounds to do so. No, you could post anything you want. What Mr. Hankey didn't understand is that in order to post on that particular website as an entity, you have to verify that you're either a government entity such as a dog pound or a humane society, or that you have 501c3 status. Therefore, in order to set up the account listed for the Stark County Dog Warden Department, somebody had to send in verification that they were with the dog pound and had authorization to post these dogs. So even if Friends of the Pound is posting, it's because the Stark County Dog Warden Department gave them the password or gave them the authority to set up an account. As far as my understanding, at that point, they're then posting as agents of the dog pound. Whether they're on payroll or not, they've been authorized and they are posting as the dog pound.
Now, your discussion with Mr. Hankey, was there, as I understood correctly, when we talked earlier, he also brought up whether or not the dog pound / the county would be liable if there were any consequences of this dog being put out for adoption. Is that correct?
Yes, actually, I brought up that topic. Along with public safety, I felt that adopting this dog could be a huge liability for the county because they've advertised that it has a possible past as a dog fighter, and they're then placing it in the public. They're essentially, in my mind, responsible and liable for what happens. I was informed, and I forget the exact word Mr. Hankey used, there's some sort of government immunity in situations like these where they could sue the county, but there's nothing they could do, which essentially expressed to me that it doesn't matter if it's morally or ethically correct to adopt this dog out. The bottom line is the county can't be held legally or financially responsible, so it was okay. Now, I will give Mr. Hankey the benefit of, at the time we met in one of the meeting rooms up front, he had not seen the advertisement. After I left, I left my phone number with him, and he said he was going to go look at the ad. He did, to the best of my knowledge, do so, and he called me shortly thereafter and said that the dog warden had went home early with a sick child. He had ordered that the dog be held at the pound until he could speak to them and further look into this issue. But I still got a feeling of, once the dog leaves, it's not our problem. Who cares?
Okay, in terms of the response that you've gotten from the commissioner's office, how would you characterize it?
I think that has yet to be seen. I don't think I would be willing to characterize it just yet. You know, there's a multitude of ways. The only thing that's really happened is that Mr. Hankey has placed a hold on this dog. You know, that can be interpreted 100 different ways, and I've talked to people about this situation. Someone said, oh, he just doesn't want you to go to the meeting. Someone said, oh, well, he has to look into it. And any one of these things is a possibility. So I'm not going to sit here and say they're not doing anything or they're doing a great job, because at this point in time, there's no way to know. I guess the proof will be in the pudding and what happens with this dog.
Okay. Could you give the viewers a little bit of your own background dealing with dogs?
I've been dealing with dogs of the bully breed nature for the last 12 years, having my first American Pit Bull Terrier at the age of 18. I currently show and do competitive sports with American Bulldogs, and I have helped train and rehabilitate many and many of American Pit Bull Terriers and replace them for the city of Massillon. At one point, I was one of 2 people authorized by the city of Massillon to take the stray Pit Bull Terriers that they had found in order to prevent them from being euthanized at the Stark County Humane Society. And I've worked with a number of private individuals with dog issues of their own, and I've also done work for the Columbiana County Dog Pound with a dog named Fonda. I worked with a dog named Millie for the Richland County Humane Society, and as I said, I'm currently working with a German Shepherd dog for Weeping Willow Rescue.